Hello there, and welcome to the Football Outsiders live stream and podcast. Hi, good morning, Mike. We are in Phoenix, Arizona. Hi, it is February 9th, 2023. I am Aaron Schatz, editor-in-chief of Football Outsiders, joined as always by Mike Tanier, and we are both in Phoenix, Arizona. Despite what it says, we are not live from the stadium. We are at the Media Center in downtown Phoenix. Mike's on the second floor near the media workrooms. I'm up on the third floor. Behind me, you can see the entrance to the Super Bowl fan experience, which will be filled with fans Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But right now, things are actually kind of quiet in downtown Phoenix. We think that all of the fans are in Scottsdale for the Waste Management Golf Tournament.
That may be true. And I'm near the refreshment area here in the media workroom, and provisions are running low. People are starting to eat tea bags.
They're starting to turn on each other. Fox Sports people versus ESPN people battling over whose leg makes a delicious meal. No, we're not. It's not that bad. But we've been here for the week. It's been enjoyable, a little bit more low key than Super Bowls that I've been to in the past, but I think a little higher key than Los Angeles last year, which Mike was at.
That's absolutely true. Last year was very much a little bit like a COVID ghost town to a degree, exacerbated by the fact that everything was so spread out in Los Angeles. I mean, here is a very compact city. Everything's in the center of the city. I have a funny feeling in the next couple of days, you're going to have Chiefs fans bombing in, Eagles fans bombing in, probably starting with tomorrow's flights, and you're going to get some of that energy. We already saw a little bit of that energy on Radio Row. You were just down there, and it's not the way it was on Monday.
Radio Row is much more full than it was earlier this week. Radio Row is much more full than it was earlier in the week at this point. But all the celebrities are around by now because we're on Thursday.
Who'd you see? Anybody?
I saw Justin Fields. I saw Andrew Zimmern from Bizarre Foods. I saw Steve Mariucci. So, yeah, players, ex-coaches, celebrities, they're all around today. Yesterday and today, there were like WWE people walking around. There's a lot of folks around. The funny thing is...
And right now, the NBA is making all the news right now. So we might, they might as well take an hour off down there until that trade deadline passes.
I know we were talking about with Gabriel Morency, whose show I just did, and you've done his show also, that do you know how hard it is for the NBA to outstage the NFL during Super Bowl week in the town where Super Bowl week is? And yet there's no question the number one sports story right now is the Kevin Durant trade.
Absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, you did Gabriel's show, huh? How did you like Sports Rage?
It was good. I was on. We talked about the game. It was good. He said nice things about me. He asked if I was technically your boss, and I said yes.
You're not technically my boss. You're my boss.
Yeah.
Technically,
I am your boss.
Technically,
I'm in reality, I'm your boss. Both de jure and de facto. It was funny because we talked yesterday about things we were going to talk about during the show, and we just want to mention we had a long talk yesterday with Matt Lombardo from Heavy.com about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. People may not realize it, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a lot like the NFL Hall of Fame in that they only put in 5 people a year, and yet you go down the list of nominees, and every one of them sounds like they belong. Like we were going through the list of this year's nominees, and we couldn't believe Iron Maiden is not in yet. Like Warren Zevon is not in yet. And we're like, this is the exact same thing as the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Iron Maiden's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think Warren Zevon is too, but I think Warren Zevon is like the Don Coryell of rock and roll, in which if you're looking at superficially, it's like, oh, that's the Werewolves of London guy. But if you understand the influence and the impact, he is the Don Coryell with album after album of important music that influenced so many. And so, well, who else is in there? Who else is on this list?
George Michael, Cyndi Lauper, New Order, Sheryl Crow, Willie Nelson, who I talked about, Willie Nelson is like the Devin Hester of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You're not sure if he belongs there, but the people who think he does belong there really feel very strongly about it. And then like Missy Elliott and
you know, like, and somebody like you're right, they're absolutely all deserving. And yeah, like Willie Nelson, like in my opinion, country music has its Hall of Fame. Okay.
Yeah.
It's different for hip hop. I think hip hop is the spiritual and cultural extension of rock and roll. Absolutely get those artists in. Country music, you got your thing. Dolly, Willie, we love you. You've got your own thing. And I was thinking about this morning. At some point, rock and roll ends. Rock and roll's ended, right?
Basically.
I feel like some point in the future, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they should put in Tool and the Roots, and then slam the door shut, and that's the end. I don't.
Well, after that,
I don't want to hear about Imagine. Yeah, I don't want to hear Imagine Dragons in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm time for the dirt nap when that happens.
So, have your feeling about this game changed over the week that we've been here and all the people that you've talked to?
No, I mean, everyone is anticipating a close game. And then it comes down to, I think it's a matter of personal preferences. I think it's a matter of predilections. And I think dragons are cool, Patrick. Imagine Dragons are not cool. Okay. And you know, for me, I lean Eagles. But when people talk about the Chiefs and they lean Chiefs for XYZ, I'm like, yes, that all makes sense. It makes perfect sense to lean Chiefs. And I think you were saying DVOA leans Chiefs. Is that correct?
Yes, DVOA leans very slightly Chiefs. In fact, the pick in the FO picks, the premium FO plus picks, is Chiefs by minus 0.4. Chiefs minus 0.4.
By minus point.
Yeah, that's the line. Chiefs by 0.4. That's really close.
Well, and the real line is still what? Eagles minus 1.5?
1.5.
Something like that. Right. So in the DVOA line, I just don't. That's too close for comfort. That's very much a pick 'em. It's very much a pick 'em. Is really what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So under the circumstances, it comes down to, I think, your feel for this game, and I feel that this weird to feel that this is an Eagles victory because it's a Super Bowl and Eagles fans are fatalists, and I was born and raised an Eagles fan and therefore a fatalist. But this feels like an Eagles victory.
Patrick Seeley says this is going to come down to Mahomes' mobility. I do think there's an element of that, but one of the interesting things is that Mahomes was so good in the AFC Championship game. First of all, he was so good under pressure. Second of all, he was so good outside the pocket. And third, he was so good on that last scramble that put them into field goal range after the penalty. Like, I don't know if Mahomes, with 2 more weeks to get the ankle healthy, I don't think Mahomes' mobility is going to be a big problem. And I'll add, by the way, that both of these defenses had problems with scrambling quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks during the season.
That's interesting. The Eagles had problems with mobile quarterbacks during the season?
They did. They allowed a lot of yards. The Eagles ranked 29th in rush YAR allowed to quarterbacks during the regular season, 30th if you only look at scrambles. Kansas City ranked 25th and 28th if you only look at scrambles.
How much of that was really, really impactful, I guess, is my first question. I don't remember a lot of Eagles games. I'm trying to find a place to hide here, by the way.
You know how many of those were runs for first downs, but a good number of them were runs for first down.
And you're it's DR and everything, so it's obviously not just it's garbage time yardage because it's adjusted for that.
Right. Yes. It's YAR because I don't have the adjustment on it for the defense because they were the defense. They were the defense, so I don't want to adjust for them.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's right. I'm not thinking in terms of Mahomes scrambling for lots and lots of yardage.
No,
I'm thinking
getting away
Mahomes
from the pass rush much more. I think much more getting away.
Now, of course,
from
the Eagles. This is in the case of the Eagles. This might be more qualitative and quantitative in terms of how good this pass rush is because it comes from all angles. You don't necessarily get that opportunity to step up in the pocket, which Mahomes works with. You don't necessarily break contain and say, I can outrun the edges because you can't necessarily outrun those Eagles edges. So, anyone looking at this game says, yes, Mahomes' mobility, like Patrick says, and his ability to step up and make plays. I think the Eagles, despite the numbers you're saying, are pretty well built to contain or at least control that to a degree.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the same for the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs, it's like here comes Jones to smush the middle.
Right.
And you're going to escape to the outside. And if Jalen Hurts is against Frank Clark running on the open field, guess what? That's a mismatch in the Eagles'
No,
favor.
I agree with you on that. I think, I mean, if you look at the mismatches in these games that favor the Eagles, cornerbacks, wide receivers, and edge rushers. I mean, there's no question edge rushers favors the Eagles. And I think offensive tackles favors the Eagles over the Chiefs. Obviously, the interior of the Chiefs line is phenomenal, but the offensive tackles are not as good.
That's exactly it. So when you start stacking those things, I feel like it's a significant Eagles advantage when you say they should be able to create opportunities against the Chiefs cornerbacks, who I wrote about this week. Great young players. I don't think they're quite up to this stage. Eagles edge rushers should be able to get a great deal of pressure against these tackles. You start stacking these things up. I would say the Eagles' offensive line ability to run the ball against the Chiefs defense. It keeps looking like here's an avenue for the Eagles. And the avenue for the Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes, screw you, here I come. Andy and Chris Jones and Travis.
Yeah, I think that the rosters are a little bit closer than we've been talking about. Like we've been joking that, the 3 best players in this game are on Kansas City and then the next 30 are on the Eagles. Yes. I don't think it's quite that extreme. But, I mean, there's no question that the Eagles have certain positional advantages and that a lot of the idea of the Chiefs winning is just Mahomes to Kelsey is so good you can't stop.
You hear me right now?
I can hear you, but your video seems to have frozen. Oh, there we go. We're good.
Yeah, I do bananas up here as I try to find a quiet place.
Oh, all of a sudden everybody
you know what I need?
To show up on the second floor?
Absolutely. Even though there's no refreshments in the refreshment area, everyone is here. You know what I need? I need a coffin of darkness. I wonder if somebody can hook me up with a coffin of darkness. It'd be turned the corner and Aaron Rodgers was there. That would be the most amazing maneuver, but that's not going to happen. You're right. The rosters are closer than we're giving them credit for. We are overstating that on the Eagles side of things. But, when the Eagles have the ball, it seems like they should have it should not be difficult for them to score points.
No, well, that's why, I mean, when people are asking me about betting on this game, I would much rather bet the over than bet the spread. Like, I feel strong about the over. The Eagles and the Chiefs were 2 of the top 3 offenses in the league, and they're 2 of the 3 fastest offenses in the league by situation neutral pace. So they're going to run a lot of plays and score a lot of points.
And that's a huge point for the over, and that's something I did not look at. Will that be? Is that in the preview?
That's in the preview. Yes.
That's in the preview because that situational pace will turn into an opportunity again to hit that over. We were looking at things like the first quarter. The Chiefs, I think, are an outstanding first quarter team scoring. The Eagles are lights out as a second quarter team, and all of those things not just favor the over, but favor the idea of saying if you're like me and like in-game props. Look to that first quarter over, look to that second quarter over, look to that fast start. I think one of the teams is going to get better. Is my reception better here?
You sound better to me, yeah.
Or worse? Okay, excellent. Ian asks, do you see the Chiefs stopping the Eagles' run game? I'm going to go no on that. Where are you going to go on that?
I mean, I think that I don't think it's going to be like 200 rushing yards and all the Eagles do is run all day. But I think they will definitely get rushing yards. And I mean, I said for ESPN, I picked Miles Sanders MVP as my favorite prop in the game at 25-1. Mm-hmm. Because I do feel like as much as they split the ball between the backs, Miles Sanders is the main back. And if the game stays close, you're going to see more Sanders and less Gainwell. And the idea that the Eagles running back should only have a 4% chance of MVP seems a little low to me.
Nice. Well, what was the prop again?
The Sanders at MVP for 25-1.
I love it because I love the juice on it.
Yeah. Or you can go Gainwell.
You're like one.
You can go Gainwell at 100-1.
Yeah, I mean that's getting a little carried away because if Gainwell has a big game, he's not enough of a big name, and people might look in the opposite direction. Whereas if Sanders has a big game, he's more recognized player and would get that opportunity to get it. I love you had another really cool prop you were mentioning. I think it was on the prop bet extravaganza, and Brian grabbed it or Kel grabbed it, but then you pulled it out for ESPN. What was that one?
Yeah, I stole this from Brian and Vince in the prop bet extravaganza. It's over under on the uniform number of the player to score the first touchdown over 11.5.
Mm-hmm.
So over 11.5 gets you Travis Kelce, Dallas Goedert, and the Eagles running backs.
Ooh. Yeah. Under gets you Pacheco, McKinnon,
Devontae Smith and A.J.
Hurts.
Brown. Yep, and Hurts.
Wow. And over gets you Mahomes, yeah.
Over gets you Mahomes on a scramble.
You're calling. You're calling over one. I like that. Here's one Jody Mack from the Eagles 360 podcast, Philadelphia broadcasting legend Jody Mack pointed out. Over under on the number of quarterbacks, over and under on the number of players to attempt a pass at 2.5.
Yeah,
Now you know me. I want to go.
It's more fun to go over, but I'm feeling under.
Yeah, it's no fun to play under. Like you're going to sit around all day and be the Grinch that stole a trick play. And of course, we don't want to think about injuries, although there could be injuries at quarterback there. But we went back and looked at it. The only position player on either team, well, not a position player on either team to attempt a pass who wasn't a quarterback was punter Tommy Townsend, the pinball wizard. And he attempted a fake punt at some point this year. But I still like the idea. If you look at a guy like Kadarius Toney, he can throw. I think McKinnon can throw. And I think Andy's been sitting around with Bieniemy looking at the 1937 Cotton Bowl, and you can get a Hurts might not throw one. Well, you don't win the prop then. Heaven forbid.
I think Hurts will throw at least one pass. That's going to be my guess.
I think so. The Eagles might try to commit to the ground game, but there will be a pass play in there. And the flip side of Ian's question, you see the Chiefs stopping the Eagles' run game. I'm wondering if the Chiefs stop the Chiefs' running game. Because I think the Chiefs can have a lot of success being a little more run-oriented than they've been in the past. But Andy Reid is Andy Reid, and I don't think he's going to look at this and say, hey, maybe if I slow the game down and try to attack that Eagles' run defense, which is not strong, I think it's an advantage that the Chiefs could leave on the table there.
Here's an interesting stat, given what we were talking about trying to stop Hurts on the outside. But this stat is only for running back runs. The Chiefs are actually better against outside runs than inside runs.
Interesting.
But that doesn't count quarterbacks. That's only running backs.
That's how Reid, the Eagles try to use.
So that doesn't necessarily.
The fact is, the Eagles.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's not an Eagles advantage. And I think we're looking very much at the 49ers game, especially in the second and third quarter, when the Eagles were manipulating, moving guys around, going 3-by-1, vacating that side of the field, and then running to that side of the field, which is a very effective tactic against the 49ers. Even though the 49ers claim they only lost because the quarterback got hurt, whatever, because their running game defense got gashed in the second and third quarter. That doesn't sound like an advantage you're going to be able to manipulate against the Kansas City Chiefs.
No. Talking about Hurts throwing, by the way, the thing that I've been bringing up on every show I've done, and it's in the preview and everything, is Kansas City's trouble against the short middle passes. And on last year, we were all talking about could Hurts throw in the middle of the field. This year, Hurts was third in value on short middle passes. Yes. Nick Bolton is not good in coverage. So whether it's Dallas Goedert or it's A.J. Brown crosses, I think that short middle of the field is where the Eagles can have a lot of success.
I'm surprised how good they are. I'm surprised you told me third. If you told me 12th, 13th, because so much of it is so much what I've seen is RPO slant driven. It seems like there just wouldn't been enough attempts, wouldn't have sort of ballast in the in the data to get all the way up to third.
Yeah, third in value So that's both the number of passes and the amount of success that they had in passes to the short middle.
Awesome. Well, that's another edge in the Eagles' favor then. So
yeah, that's another.
What do we got sitting up on the Chiefs here?
Yeah. Now,
yeah,
a point in the Chiefs' favor is that Hurts has all kinds of problems against the blitz this year, and the Chiefs are better blitzing than not blitzing, and we know that Steve Spagnuolo likes to blitz.
He does like the blitz. I'm actually surprised that the Eagles had that many problems against the blitz. I feel like that's a handful of games where things kind of went sideways on Hurts. But the fact is, a lot of those games were later in the season, I would reckon.
Yeah. Yeah, the Eagles' pass offense did decline later in the season, even if you take out the Minshew games.
Yes.
But their running offense got so good. Their running offense has just been phenomenal since midseason.
Right. Yeah, you said this. That's the second best all time.
Yes. If you look at the Eagles since week 10 without the two Minshew games, so you take out the two Minshew games,
okay,
over a full season, it would be the second best run offense ever.
Nice. Who was first? The Ravens?
2000 Rams.
The 2000 Rams?
Marshall Faulk and the 2000 Rams. That was the year that Kurt Warner got hurt and the Rams still scored a bunch of points, but their defense was horrible.
Amazing. If you had me start trying to guess what that run offense was, I would not have 700 guesses. I would not have picked the 2000 Rams. That's remarkable.
I mean, the other teams that are really high up are teams you would imagine. The 98 Broncos, the early Cam Newton teams.
Right. Yeah, those all made sense. And of course, you're talking about Marshall Faulk, Hall of Famer, Orlando Pace, Hall of Famer. So you're talking about a team that could, and some other really good players. Robert Holcomb, not a Hall of Famer, but a good back for a couple of years. So I can see where that came from.
But that is how good the Eagles have been running the ball. And Kansas City's run defense is average. It's average. It's better than it's been in recent years, but it's average.
Right. Yeah, and again, so often their run defense is Patrick Mahomes. You're trailing. Good luck running the ball to catch up. So, but I don't think that's going to be an advantage in this case.
So, I mean, everybody we've talked to feels it's close. I don't think I've talked to anybody who's like, yeah, I think it's going to be a blowout in one way or the other.
Agreed. Ian says, I heard a stat on the NFL Network. 2 times in the NFL era, the number one pass team went up against the number one pass D team. And the number one pass D won an average by 31 points. They're using the raw statistics.
Yeah, but that's only 2 times. That's a sample size of 2, one of which is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos 43-8.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm wondering what the other one was now. It wasn't the 85 Bears. It wasn't the Ravens, but it was probably something like that. Right.
Yeah. I don't know when's the other time that a top pass defense went up against them. It may have been the Patriots and Rams when it was 13-3. I don't know.
That might have been it. Yeah, it could have been something like that. What we've done a ton of media, man. What are the most ridiculous things you've heard this week when we've been doing media? Questions?
Not much. I haven't heard a lot of ridiculousness. Everybody's on the same stories, the Kelsey brothers, the Andy Reid coming back. Everybody wants to talk about prop bets. It's kind of amazing thinking about what the NFL was like a few years ago, just how intertwined everything is with betting at this point. I haven't been asked a lot. I haven't done enough ridiculous shows to be asked ridiculous things. The most ridiculous thing we've come across all week for people to tell people is media night, opening night on Monday night. Mike decided that what he was going to write about was the Jalen Hurts sneak. And so they put, for those people who've never seen media night, they put the top 12 or so players on each team at podiums. And then the rest of the players and assistant coaches are just milling around, and you can go up to them and ask whatever you want. So we go up to Grant Calcaterra, who is the third string tight end for the Eagles. And the poor guy has some comedian asking him the most obnoxious questions. But here's the thing. Without a camera person there to record it.
Right.
So he's just annoying Calcaterra for no reason.
Now, this individual, in the past, now I've done, I think, 9 media nights. And years ago, there were guys like Vic the Brick dressed up as samurai with fake swords. And when somebody like that walks up to you, as a player, oh, here comes a bit. And you can choose to turn and run the other direction. You're like, or I'll try my hand at this bit. This guy was not dressed as anything. He was dressed like you made somebody off the street. And he's going up to, again, a third string tight end, like, I am the great Cornholio. Do you think the Kelsey brothers farted upon each other when they were children? And doing these jokes, they're not funny. They're not creative. They're somewhere between gross and, in a few cases, offensive. And I was watching it and thinking the same thing as you. If somebody was filming this, you have a chance of salvaging it. But this guy seemed to be doing it into his microphone, and all this poor young rookie was doing was blinking and Jim Halperding at us, like
he was blinking SOS. What is what he was blinking?
He was blinking SOS with his eyes, and I kept waiting. I was going to go just interrupt this guy, and at the end, I think I kind of did. It's like I have a football question. I was going to elbow him away, but that kind of thing happened in the past a lot. But you're right. The person doing it was dressed up as a ballerina or was dressed up as a samurai, so the poor individual knew they were with. Open mic night at the Super Bowl. This was bad, Patrick. This was like, and again, as somebody who had to do humor in the past in that arena, like this was cringy. This was absolutely cringy.
So that's absolutely
the dumbest thing I heard.
Thing I've heard this week.
Yeah, that was nasty. When I was going around the Fox thing, and we're talking to Jimmy Johnson and Michael Strahan, and I got to talk to Mike Pereira a little bit, and I put it in the walkthrough. Guy comes up and says, the trend nowadays is for teams to just go all in to win a Super Bowl, like the Rams and the Eagles. And when did the Eagles become an all-in team? I don't understand this. Do we just say words now?
There's a lot of argument going on in the comment thread about whether you're right. There actually are a lot of people in the comment thread who do think the Eagles went all in because they signed some veterans to very short contracts. I don't think that that's all in. I think the Eagles went a lot in, but they didn't go all in. To go all in, you have to trade your future draft picks. But they went a lot.
Right. They had a few $1 million left under cap space, and they got guys. That's called being a team. That's called trying to win.
You're supposed to go a lot in every year.
You're supposed to, exactly. You're supposed to try.
Yes, the Eagles have picks. The Eagles have plenty of picks for the future. There's no question they have some veterans whose contracts are ended, but they have picks in the future.
Yes. They have 2 first-round picks next year. So right off the bat, they have not mortgaged the future in any appreciable way. Their quarterback is 26 years old and still on his rookie contract. Now, of course, that's about to change. But theoretically, if the Eagles wanted to save money and be a dollar foolish, they could keep Hurts cheap for another year. That's actually a thing they could do. I think it would be foolish. I don't think they will. But there's all kinds of things they could do. I guess I haven't looked at the comments. Explain to me how the Eagles shortened their window somehow. They've not shortened their window in any meaningful way. The Rams absolutely did that. But that's like saying the 49ers went all in because they got Christian McCaffrey. Well, they made an expenditure. But at the same time, they've got 2 young quarterbacks. They've got, all these other assets along with. That's not going all in. But then maybe I don't understand what the perception is.
Yeah. Olheady 403 says the Chiefs are wearing white and the Eagles are wearing green. 15 of 18 of the last teams that won the Super Bowl were wearing white.
Whoa.
Well, that's a statistical trend that matters to us. I mean, we could talk about our picks. I think your pick is slightly Eagles and my pick is slightly Chiefs.
See, and it's the desert and it's nighttime. And as it's your desert in the nighttime, I think you want to wear darker clothes because, as we figured out the other night, it's chilly in the desert at nighttime.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if they'll have the roof
If I
open.
learned anything-
Last time we were here, they did have the roof open for Seahawks and Patriots.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, I wasn't at that one. But the roof will be open. It'll be chilly. Dress warm.
I'll
warm,
bring a jacket. Bring a jacket. I'm
Bring your
going to the game. Mike is headed home tomorrow. I'm going to the game on Sunday.
Here's another fact that matters. The Eagles have been playing Creed during their practices. Lane Johnson requested of Nick Sirianni that they play more of the Christian rockers Creed. So they're playing Creed during their practices. This is through Lindsey Jones, through the poll report. That has me leaning Chiefs by like 40 points. If there's Nickelback, I'd worry about like a lightning striking the Eagles bus. But it's Creed. I think you're okay from lightning strikes there. But so is that an advantage for the Chiefs there?
Again, I apologize.
What does DVOA say?
I have to apologize for my part in bringing Creed to the world.
Oh no!
Right? You know the story, right? Yeah, that I played Creed when they were an unsigned band when I was in the music business, and we helped them get signed.
Yes.
So I apologize. I prayed the rest of my life to make up for it.
And who else? I know the other part of the story. Who else did you? What great one-hit wonder did you break?
Oh, I mean, I championed a lot of one-hit wonders, but I didn't really make anyone's career other than Creed. I mean, I remember walking through the station. Chumbawamba. I remember walking through the station with a boombox going, "Do you all want to hear the next number one hit? This is it. This is the next number one hit. Listen to
this." Thank heavens for DVOA, not just for what it provides to the football community, but it kept you out of the music business because Creed and Chumbawamba were our future. And when I talk about rock and roll being dead, that was 30 years ago, and those were death shots. Those were kill shots right there.
Yeah. So let's wrap up here. If anybody has any last questions, you can ask us some last questions on YouTube and Twitch. So my feeling as to why I'm going barely Chiefs is, first of all, if it's a tie, the two teams are equal, I'm going to favor the team with the better quarterback. And the other is that I feel like, and I've seen someone else say this too, that the extra week of prep favors Andy Reid and what Andy Reid does well, rather than what Nick Sirianni does well. That it favors game planning over in-game decisions, even though we know Sirianni is better with in-game decisions. That the extra week of game planning favors Reid. So that's why ever so slightly I lean Chiefs.
And you know what? As an older Eagles fan, it's like the old Andy Reid mojo Eagles fans counted upon. The bye week win, the first round bye win. That now works against Eagles fans. And, Eagles fans about that mojo still lean towards the Eagles because of what I said earlier in terms of the paths to victory. It's like I think the Eagles could have a path to victory by running the ball effectively, by exposing those rookies with their pass rush. With secondary shutting everything down except Kelsey and making you try to, which gets you to 20 points or 23 points, not the 30 points I think you need. I don't see as many avenues to victory besides Mahomes goes ham in this game. And so again, it's slight to any other bet. I'm not sure what kind of prop betting I'll be doing. I'll be on the Discord on Sunday night. I'll be on the Discord. Those of you who are regular Discord users, I'll be at my home desk and I'll be there. But I'm still looking for the Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I have a couple guys just walked up right next to me, so I don't know if you can hear. It's busy in the media center.
Yeah, it's almost as though everyone's trying to work here. We should have just gone and gotten one of those tables that no one's at Radio Row and should have just
done it in Radio Row at someone blank table. Yeah, we didn't pay for this table. Sorry.
Thank you. Stuck a little piece of duct tape down and FO, and we're in charge now.
Thank you, Patrick. The shows. So here's just to people know the future schedule. We're going to do a Monday quick Super Bowl wrap-up show at 1 p.m. Eastern on Monday. And then Thursday, we'll start with our weekly off-season shows, doing every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern through the off-season. That's what the media center looks like on the second floor. It looks like a convention center, honestly.
Yeah, I am ready to shut down here. I'm hiding in a corner, and all
right.
Thank you, Patrick, and thanks everyone.
Thank you, all the listeners. Thank you to all the watchers for all through the season. We'll be back on Monday to wrap up the Super Bowl. Everybody enjoy the game. This is Aaron and Mike live from Phoenix. Take care, all.